Hello and welcome back to part 3 of this 3-part series on managing work-related stress, the management standards approach. In the last video we discussed step 1 through to step 4 of the risk assessment approach. So in this final video we're going through the final step, which is step 5, monitoring and reviewing. I'm also going to signpost you to some resources that will help you when you're implementing this process within your organisation. It's essential that you review any action that you take to tackle the sources of workplace pressure or stress. So you need to monitor against your action plan. So step 5 is monitoring and reviewing. You need to monitor against the action plan to ensure that you've agreed that the actions are taking place. You also need to evaluate the effectiveness of the solutions that you implement and look at maybe what went well, what didn't go so well. And you might have to decide if there's any further action or any further data gathering if it's needed. Now the timescale within you evaluate any solutions will kind of depend on the solutions that you have developed. And how long actions take to deliver their expected measurable outcomes can vary greatly. So it's likely that some will be aimed at quick wins, which we've mentioned. For example, something simple like an adjustment to a physical environment could maybe take days. But it could take months to pilot a complicated longer-term solution such as a new rostering system, and again much longer still for something aimed at delivering long-term cultural change. One way to measure progress is to repeat the Management Standards Survey or other surveys that you've used earlier. The Management Standards approach suggests that you do this after a period of time as part of the continuous improvement model. So you may want to set this up as maybe an annual survey or as part of an annual survey. You need to obviously monitor and review any actions that you've taken. If you have taken any actions, you also need to update your action plan. I mentioned looking at what went well and how these could prevent work-related stress in the future. And this is a part of your continuous improvement. Any actions that you have taken, it's very important that you communicate the progress and communicate that through different means to all the organisation. You want to get everyone on board. And we've mentioned about the lessons learned and the future prevention. This is all part of your continuous improvement within your organisation. It is recommended by the standards that you would do a 24-month review, and this is because it takes a bit of time for this to embed within your organisation. And this means so you could repeat the survey maybe within 24 months. So that's the 5 steps to your risk assessment approach. Now, for our organisations to avoid risk and being employers of choice, they must identify and mitigate the causes of stress. The effects of stress can present themselves really in different or varying ways, so it can be a difficult subject to tackle. However, the Management Standards approach and the indicator tool and analysis tool provides you with a means of measuring the impact of stress and again the standards to aim for. So I want to recap on the 5 steps to risk assessment. The first one was to identify your risk factors, and that is your 6 HSE management standards which have been identified for you. The second step was to gather your quantitative information, and that is by using the HSE indicator tool, the 35 multiple choice questionnaire. Step 3 then was to gather your qualitative data. That's by talking to your employees or hosting focus groups. Step 4, recording your findings. And again, that is taking the information that you gather at step 2 and 3, your qualitative and quantitative data, and any other data that is available like sick absence data, absence turnover, or staff turnover, and using all that information available to you to develop your action plan. And step 5 is to monitor and review. That would be your steering group taking that forward and making sure that there's continuous improvement within your organisation. By using the approach, the Management Standards approach, it demonstrates good practice through this 5-step risk assessment approach, and it allows you to take the temperature or to assess the current situation in your organisation by using the surveys and other techniques. Again, I mentioned it promotes active discussion and working in partnership with your employees to help decide on practical improvements that can be made. We all like simple solutions, however this is a complex problem, but the management standards can help you, and managing work-related stress is a long-term commitment. So just to conclude, It is important that you remember that your legal requirement, which we discussed in the first video. Remember your legal requirement to manage work-related stress. Follow the risk assessment process that's available for you in the HSE Management Standards approach. And this process, it's similar to other risk assessments. It should be treated the same as assessing for physical hazards. For example, why wait till someone falls off a ladder before you assess the risks for working at heights, for example? So follow the risk assessment approach to help you address and identify if work-related stress is a problem within your organisation. Check what policies you have available. Check and see if you have a stress policy or a wellbeing policy within your organisation, and make sure again that that is communicated out to your staff. You may need to consider individual concerns. Stress is a very individual thing, so it's very important to consider that we are all impacted differently. And don't forget that HSE and I provide advice and guidance and have a number of mental health and wellbeing advisors here to assist you if you're adopting this approach. I'd like to point you towards our resources. We have a wealth of resources available. For a lot of information, you can check out our website, which is www.hseni.gov.uk/stress. There are also workbooks available. There's a workbook called Tackling Work-Related Stress Using the Management Standards Approach, and this is a step-by-step approach to managing work-related stress. So the publication was released by HSE, and you can download that from their website. We also have a booklet called Addressing Mental Wellbeing in the Workplace, which was its latest edition was in 2021. And it has been updated. And so it's an associated resource to promoting mental health and wellbeing within the workplace setting. This mental wellbeing guide aims to increase awareness of mental health issues within the workplace and provides a corporate approach to addressing the issue and signposts you to various sources of other support available. We also have a talking toolkit for preventing work-related stress. And again, this document is based on the 6 management standards that can assist managers if they need to have the discussion with their staff. And we have a mental wellbeing at work at home flyer, again, that you can download from our website. On this slide, we're providing a link to the mental health and wellbeing topic page. There's also a link to all our resources that are available for you if you're implementing the HSE Management Standards approach. So there are templates for the survey, there are templates for focus groups. There's a wealth of information on our website. And by following this link, that's a link to all our resources that are available for you, free to use and to download. The third link is a link to the Talking Toolkit flyer, which I mentioned in the previous slide, and also the Working from Home flyer. And again, these are all available and free resources that you and your organisation can use. That brings me now to the end of part 3 of the 3-part series on managing work-related stress, the Management Standards approach. We looked at the importance of step 5, which was to monitor and review, and we also looked at some useful resources. If there's anything that you want to talk to us about or any further information or help that you need that we've talked about in any of the videos, then you can contact any of the members of the team by email at stress@hseni.gov.uk or by telephone 0800 0320 121. Thank you for watching.